All right, everybody. Good afternoon. I was about to say good morning, but it's 12 o'clock now, just on the money. So now, good afternoon to everybody. My name is retired Sergeant First Class Eric Castillo. I am your host of the Warrior Mindset and Motivation podcast, and I'm also a life coach at Zimi Wellness Indigenous Sovereignty. And today we got another entrepreneur here. She does coffee. We all know we need that coffee in the morning, right? To get us going. Like 99.99% of the planet needs coffee to keep going. So she has her own business with that, and I'll let her dive into that. And she has a pretty inspiring story. The story's in her bio, and I know that when you read it, you people just kind of react things differently. Some people feel the story when they read it. Some people actually, when they hear it, it kind of hits harder. So for Carrie here, she's gonna share her story and kind of everything and her service and what went down and how she was able to bounce back a couple of times actually to where she is now, and it's a pretty inspiring story, especially for those who are struggling or even trying to get a business off the ground. And with all the hurdles she's had to climb over, she's an inspirational person. So I'm going to go ahead and let her share a little bit about herself and let her have the floor. Carrie, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, you want me to start with service?
Just intro about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name's Carrie Beavers. I'm living in the cornfields of Illinois, pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. Um, I have two boys. They're one's 17 and one is 22. And I'm pretty excited because my oldest is coming to visit. I haven't seen him in over a year because of the pandemic and stuff. So he's going to be visiting and excited about that finally, because this is the longest I've been without ever seeing him. So, yeah, it'll be easier if you just guide me.
Okay.
You want me to talk about service
Yeah,
first?
no problem. So I was looking at your bio and I see that you joined the Army a while ago. How long did you
Mhm.
do, or what year did you actually join the first time?
91 to 93. I went in as a cook. I was just trying to get away from my small town. I had like 49 in my graduating class, and
Holy
yeah, so
smokes.
just yeah, small country town. And when I went in there, I don't think I cared what job they gave me. I just was wanting to get away. So I picked the cook one, and I got stationed in Germany, so that was good for 2 years, and then I transitioned out in '93.
Where in Germany were you stationed at?
Kelly Barracks, it's Darmstadt, Germany. It's about half hour from Frankfurt.
Oh, cool. I was in Germany for little under 6 years. I was in Vilseck, close to about 10 minutes from Amberg. I don't know
Is
if you're
that one of
familiar
the
with.
mud? Are they more like the mud holes they call them, like for the tanks and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. I'm an artillery guy, so we're kind of like we were in
Mm.
the Bavaria area, and we kind of just a lot of training open space, and it's kind of neat. I don't know if you got to do any field training experience down there in Germany, but like a lot of the training areas, especially in the Grafenberg training area,
Yeah, I
they
went to
have
Hohenfels.
yeah. See, so you
Hohenfels,
know.
yeah.
hmm So they have like a lot of World War II pillboxes and bunkers and things out there and structures that are actually landmarks that you can't even touch out there in the training area. And it's kind of neat. I remember a buddy of mine, Scott, we were doing some advanced party and we come across this building and we're like, oh, cool, look at this building, or whatever. And we stopped and we started walking around. And he's like, dude, you're not supposed to be in there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no sign. And he's like, yeah, there is. And he snaps a picture, and there's a picture of me on the other side of this structure. There's a sign that says "Do not enter." I'm like, oh, great. Like,
Well, that might
so,
have been me. I remember going in some tanks. I don't remember signs though. So I don't know.
yeah. So for that first transition, what was it? How did that go for you? Because I know you only did a small stint there. So did you go back home? Did you? Well, I know you didn't stay in Germany, so you went back to Illinois, or did you go somewhere else?
Um, so I met my ex-husband now, but I met him in Germany and we ended up getting married and he got stationed at Fort Bragg. So that's where I was headed to after Germany.
Fort Bragg. I did Fort Bragg too. That was my first duty station.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, Fayetteville.
I was there from 2000 to 2006. So
Yeah,
I don't know if you were there or not.
not then. We were there from, I want to say, and like after he left, 93 to 2000, one-ish, the beginning of 2001.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so yeah, I had just got there. I was new, 18-year-old kid down at Fort Bragg, acting crazy, being
Oh
young on
yeah,
my own for the first time. So and
Fort Bragg
then
is.
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Fort Bragg. I could see that.
Yeah. That's a whole
Lived it.
different place. That's a Fort Bragg is a whole different animal there. There's too much
Yeah,
stuff going on over there.
that's another podcast, right?
Yeah. Call it the Fort Bragg edition because that is a whole thing in itself there.
Mhm.
Um so and this you went with him to Fort Bragg, right? You didn't go back in yet, right?
Right. I got out. Um, it took me a few months. I did end up going back in the reserves. So it was 82nd Aviation Reserves.
Okay.
I know that that wasn't very long. It was, and I was trying to sell pagers. So that's how old I am. I should.
Yeah. I
Um,
know half the people watching like, what's a pager? Like,
give away my age. Oh God. Okay.
yeah, no, I
Sorry,
know the
not
pagers.
sorry. So I was trying to sell pagers and I got fired from it because I sucked at it. Um, and I thought, and like, I don't know, I had a hard time meshing with the employees. It's not that we didn't get along or anything. I just had everything felt weird. And especially being in an army base, like not being in, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And trying to, everything, it was kind of just like, well, if we're here, I don't know, at some point I felt the feeling that, I would just get back in if we're already here. And, I think I'd be much happier back in. So,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
it was difficult. I don't, people talk about, did you have a transition? The only thing I remember in Germany in 93 was them handing me my checkout paper to go get checked off at every station. I don't
Hmm.
remember anything about, I can't say that they didn't, it's been a long time ago, but I don't remember any counseling about what to expect, or I just don't remember. I feel like it was just a checklist and you were thrown out there like, here you go, thanks for your service.
Right. And
So
it's funny you say that because that's the consensus with like a lot of people who had got out earlier than now. That is kind of like, hey, here's your clear papers. And there was no like, yeah, they had what was it called at the time? It was called ACAP, Army Career Alumni Program, which was like a couple of days that you got
yeah.
like 2 days maybe of, hey, here's what happens when you get out. See you later. It was more like a check the block, don't go to work for 2 days, and then basically a little
Hmm.
bit after that you were out. That
Yeah.
was like one of your final things you did before you left the service.
Yeah, but
But
Germany, I don't remember anything
yeah.
but them giving me the paper to check out everything out to get cleared. That was it. And then I was thrown to the wolves. And then yeah. So yeah, that transition, like I said, it was kind of hard, and I couldn't sell. That's funny. I sell coffee now, but I couldn't sell a pager. I
Yo,
couldn't sell a pager case, the different color.
though that was the thing I remember back then. The pager cases, it was always, at least where I lived at in LA, if you didn't have like a clear pager case or a clear color one, you were not cool at all, you know. And if you didn't have like a little chain to attach your pager so it wouldn't fall, you definitely weren't
Oh my
cool.
God.
So
Yeah.
to see,
They had
those were
this
the
big, yeah, they had this big car phone, like the first car phone ever. Like it was huge, and in this glass case, like it was like a shrine of diamonds or something. It was funny to think about. But
so
yeah,
when you went back in the second time, that's when you I saw you were a medic.
yeah. So
Yeah, so talk about
I
that a little
thought,
bit.
well, when I signed up to get back in, I went to medic school in Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and
Yeah.
it was challenge. I mean, that was fun and everything, but it put a strain on my marriage leaving, and So that transitioning back to the military kind of wasn't easy either, because the leaving part and for 10 weeks and when you already have, like, if you have a strained marriage and you leave, that doesn't ever really help anything.
Yeah.
So ended up but anyways, long story short, we made it through that. We made it through the transitioning in Fort Bragg. So came back as a medic. I got stationed with Womack Army Medical Center, and I loved it because I didn't really have to do any field time.
But yeah, at the hospital up there, you ain't going anywhere unless like they do like a big training exercise at the hospital or something. But
I don't care to admit this, but I hate directions. Okay. I don't like land nav. I'm sorry. I was in the Army forever, but it seems like I like said my way out of here. Help me with this map thing. You know, we'd have to go out there and try to like qualify with something. I'd be like, here, just, yeah, and we'd get right through it. But I love firearms. Don't get me wrong. I can do that part. But yeah, so that stuff, I got to, it was kind of cool. I mean, I got to help manage a family practice clinic. They had an outline clinic at Smoke Bomb Hill Family Practice. I don't know if you remember that.
yeah, Smoke Bomb Hill. Yep.
Yeah, so I got to help manage that for a while, and
Oh, cool.
that was good. Yeah, I was like managing a family practice clinic, but of course, when I got out, that didn't mean shit. So
No.
without a degree, yeah, you're gonna start at the bottom.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And it's you think like with all the and it's really going through a lot of the stuff like that, especially with military. We do a lot, and you have to word it the right way for them to kind of like overlook the degree. And it's even harder with like medics in the military because you got this training and you got this experience, you know, and you legit like I knew a guy, he was a special forces medic, but yet he didn't have a degree, so he couldn't be a EMT or nothing. And I'm like, he was like, you treated trauma in combat. How much, what degree do you need? Like, what certification do you need? That's a certification in
Yeah,
itself, you know?
yeah,
And at least from what I've learned is when you actually have someone reword your stuff, it kind of helps. But like you said, it still doesn't mean anything because you don't have a certification or a degree, even though you did that for a long time.
yeah. I shouldn't say it doesn't mean anything. I guess I should say education behind it doesn't. Civilian education, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even
So,
special forces, so they had the top floor, and I had the family members underneath. So I got to manage like 40 federal employees and maybe 4 lower enlisted and stuff like that. It was fun. Go pick up
oh.
garbage. I miss those days. God,
It's all yeah, I think about those days too. It's like, you know, you're responsible for so much. And it's like, and most of the time, like if it's the longer you stayed in, it's like you don't exactly have a choice to be in charge because you're gonna be in charge of something at some point. You know, you will be responsible for people one way or another in the military. And even for you, like you had 40 civilians and then 4 lower enlisted soldiers. So it's like I never worked with civilians, but I can only imagine, at least for me, like, hey Tom, can you go over here? Oh no, I can't. I'd be like, get your freaking ass over there, you know, like
right?
like no, this
I
needs to happen.
It's crazy because I got this flow of like, I'm not saying everything ever worked out great, but I got this. There are ways that you can manage people, and it's been so long. I'm like, oh God, I don't remember that they will respect you and do what you say without you being an asshole to them. And um, you know what I'm trying to say? Like the federal employees would work with me really well, and like I would give and take. Like if they're doing an amazing job and they say, "Can I leave early for a doctor's appointment or something?" and you say yes, and not be a dick about it or whatever. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's just ways. There's just ways to manage more effectively than just always. But I will tell you, like the lower enlisted, yeah, I wasn't, and I would still be. If he wanted, sometimes I say just take the day off or whatever. But I mean, but at the same time, I would be like, yeah, pick up that garbage. Or it was a mix. Okay. If you mix it up and, I don't know. It was just, for me, I think there's a way that you can effectively manage people without, that they'll respect you and do what you say most of the time, not all the time. It just
Yeah,
seemed to work that way. I don't know. It seemed to work for me that way back then. But
yeah, and everyone has their own style and flow. And I kind of would do what you do. I'd be like, I'd give like a couple of my guys like the day off, but like the command wouldn't know. And I'd be like, hey, look, you can don't come to work today, but keep your ass in uniform and stay in your room and be within a phone call, because if I need you, you need to bring your ass back in here. It's like,
right,
so you're off, but you're not off, but you need to be. Tell him, okay, I'll get him here. He'll be here in a little bit, and then you need to bring your ass over here, and then do what you need to do, and then you can go again. And if something interrupts it, I'll comp you the time that that you're gone. But you got to
right.
be at first formation, and then you got to be when we get off. You know, so they can have
Yeah.
that gap in between. That and that seems to work a lot, especially for lower enlisted guys. You give them that time when they're
Mhm.
doing really well. Just hey, be at first formation, be at the last formation, and just don't get in trouble in between. Because if you do, I don't know anything, and you're on your own. Like,
Right. Yeah, you got a lot of I would say, for me back then in the military anyway, as a management, I mean, you have a lot of freedom to actually do your job as far as management.
mm-hmm.
I think it depends where you're at, I guess, probably. You might have NCOs that are down your neck all the time, but I didn't.
Yeah, and I've been on both spectrums personally, where there was some that were just so micromanaging that you couldn't do anything because they were
Oh,
right there. But then they want you to be a leader, but they're right there. And then I've had others who's like, hey, this is what I need done. Let me know when it gets complete. Doesn't tell you how to do it, just this is the task. Let me know when it's complete. And then they walk away, which is the
I
way it's
think,
supposed to be.
yeah, I think that having that, yeah, I've had good NCOs and bad. And I think having that mixture of seeing what works or don't work, you know what I mean? I think you kind of learn from them what they're, you know what I'm saying? Kind of.
Yeah. And as you progress, you pick up little things. Like I'm one of my old chiefs. He would say, you pick up what you like and put it in your rucksack, and then all the other stuff you just leave out there. And then
Yeah.
that way, as you're developing your craft, you just pull stuff from your bag. Like, okay, no, I need to react to this guy this way. Okay, no, I need to do this way. And you have so many stuff because you're learning from the people above you.
Yeah.
And I know
I have,
that plays a fact into the entrepreneur space too, especially if you start hiring employees and stuff.
yeah, definitely.
Um, so when you did your time over there at Fort Bragg, I think you did I think you did what, a few years, right? 3, 4, I think it was.
Um, then we
Can't
leave
remember.
2000.
But regardless,
Actually, yeah, I think my timing is off a little bit, but we ended up leaving. I had my son in 98, and then I think we left in 2001. I was actually, so when I got out in 2001, I was inactive for a year. So I count that as my time. So,
yeah.
hey, I was still, right? You can count
Hey,
that,
yeah, it's
right?
still good. Still counts.
All right. So we left
um,
around 2001.
Sweet. Okay. And then since that was your transition actually going like out, how was that? Like, was it kind of like Germany? Did they kind of make some, now talking about a couple different time periods. So now was there a little bit of changes going through the ACAP program at that? Well, for those who don't know who are watching, it was called ACAP back then. It was called the Army Career Alumni Program. And then they transitioned it to TAP, transition assistance program, and then they changed it to what it is now, which is
Oh,
Soldier for Life program.
okay.
So that just shows the changes for people who are watching, because there's different eras and stuff, so that way they can catch each type of transition. So for
Yeah.
you, I'm pretty sure I think it was still ACAP. So did they make any changes to the program when you got out versus when you got out the first time?
Well, it was totally different at Bragg. I do remember having a period of time. I don't know how long, if it was days or a week or what, but we did have to sit down. Um, I don't know if we can pay attention because you know how you're so, because at the time I think then when you make the decision to get out, I think you're like, I want out or whatever, and you're just not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you should be thinking about these things while you're sitting there. And I don't think I was, but I know that they offered some kind of guidance. I think they had people come in and talk about different subjects, maybe
Mm-hmm.
healthcare and stuff. Maybe my brain. I'm so old. Army's fault. No, I'm just kidding. But
Well, it's all good if you can't
the one thing
remember. I
that
know
I
it was a
do
while ago.
remember, the one thing I do remember is I wish. So at the time they were like, "Oh, you've been putting in a claim." I know they had that because I was like, "Yeah, I should do it," but then I was like, "No, I'll do it later." And then like 30 years later, I did. So sorry, I laugh on myself a lot, but I guess my advice is, I don't think you're not going to look weak. Like I think a lot of us think, I'm going to look weak all putting in some claim and or they're not going to approve it, or a million excuses why. So I guess my advice would be to take that opportunity right then and there to do it, because right now, even if you try to do it now, it's different for everybody, but it can take years. I mean,
Hmm.
it's getting better, but I think mine took 2 years.
Yeah, I know what they're doing now is that's actually part of the process when you get out. You have to stop by the VA person and you sit there with a VA rep. I can't remember their name, and you list all of the things wrong with you. You're sitting there and they type it all up and everything, anything from scars.
Oh,
Like I did everything. I did scars. I twisted my ankle back in 2002, so my ankle hurts. Like I did
oh, I didn't know they did that
everything.
now.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
they
all
didn't
that. So
do
you
that
sit
back then.
there, yeah, and they list all your stuff, and then they actually submit your claim for you when you get out. And then there's that 60 days. It takes 60 days to process. And then after that, that's when you find out what your rating is. And that's what you find out. That's when you find out a whole bunch of stuff. And then they'll back pay you those, from at least from what I understand, that you'll get that back pay of those 2 months from whatever you were rated. And that's what they're doing now, which is kind of good because I know a lot of people, especially during your era, they didn't do that. You had to do it yourself, and people didn't want to
Mhm.
look weak, and that's even still a stigma now about looking weak, and it's getting better. I tried to do my part when I was getting out. Was people, other soldiers who were getting out like before me, is like, look, tell them everything. Go to.
Mhm.
I would encourage if someone got hurt to go to the aid station because it's in your
Mhm.
record, and if it's in your record, it's easier to claim. Where a lot of my stuff I didn't go because I didn't want to look weak, like from about 2000 to about 2009, I didn't go to the aid station a lot because the moment you went to the aid station, you got on profile, you kind of got pushed to the side, and they took the hard chargers who were pushing through the pain. And there's a line between pushing through the pain and then just being stupid, you know. And
Mhm.
that's I developed the thing of, if you're not 100%, you can't work with me because I need you at 100%, not 99%. I need you at 100,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
99 can go to zero real fast, and then now you're dead weight and we have to pick up your weight,
Mhm.
and you're holding everybody back. So that's what I would encourage now is go to the aid station. Go, even if it's like a sprained ankle, go get it on paper, go
Mhm.
get it on record, because that sprained ankle, like my left ankle still hurts from the one time, and even
Mhm.
my right one. I remember in 2002 I was carrying two of the HE rounds. They're like 98 pounds each. We were walking through a grassy field going from one gun to another, and I step in a hole I couldn't see, because you know how Fort Bragg has that crazy grass that covers
Mhm.
holes. And I stepped in a hole. I did like a half spin. One round went this way, and another one fell right on my
Oh,
wrist. Yeah. So like now my wrist pops like no other, but
jeez.
my dumbass didn't write it on there. So I'm
Oh,
fighting. Yeah, yeah. So I'm fighting all like the non-service connected injuries, and even though like I'm pushing for them, and my argument and I'm winning is, look, I joined at 17. All of my shit is service connected. Damn it! Like,
mhm.
because
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
healthy kid. So, but yeah, I like hearing your part where, um, hearing the way getting out. I always like to hear the stories from prior, before they changed programs and changed programs. I like to hear what it is, because so that way people can see how it actually is getting better from what it was then. I can see, like for you back in the 90s, then back from 2001, 2002, and then to when I got out, you can see the advances that they're actually making. I mean, they still got a long ways to go, even because for me, I felt lost still, but they're
Yeah.
making progress in it. And as we keep moving here, how did you come up with the idea for your coffee? What sparked that idea? Because usually, and this is like a kind of like a loose statement I'm going to say, when a veteran comes up with an idea, especially for a business, it usually revolves around something. There is a story, there's a trauma, there's a reason. not saying that the civilians don't do that, but there's more of a drive for veterans because something happened. So what came up with the idea? Like, how'd you get your name, and how'd you build it up, and how'd you bring this thing to life?
Well, basically, I would say September 2019 is when I decided that I couldn't be in denial anymore, that I had PTSD, and I couldn't let it keep just wrapping itself around my life. And, you know, me wondering why I'm making all these decisions to hurt myself, or, you know, just stupid, rash of the moment decisions that weren't good for me or my soul. And I just get tired of my own shit, basically. So I decided in 2019, and I probably wouldn't have done this without uh, my cousin's roommate at the time was a VSO officer, and he knew a little bit about my story. So he kept saying, you should come put a claim in. And he lives like 2 hours away. So I'd kind of just be like, yeah, whatever, maybe. And then about 2 weeks later, he'd be like, you should come see me, put a claim in. And so I finally did. And I guess going in there, and I didn't know that me writing my statement down on paper was going to be like, open up this whole thing about, yeah, just everything I've suppressed. And it was hard. So I ended up writing it down, but then I also ended up getting in a lot more depression. And so for a year, I mean, after September, let's see, I don't know, somewhere around there. Anyway, after putting my PTSD in for MST, which is military sexual trauma, and finally dealing with it after for 30 years, because as soon as it happened, it was the end of my training in AIT the last night. And I just wanted to leave the next day. And then I went to Germany 2 weeks later. But since then, but the moment I left training, I was in denial that it happened. I pushed that shit way back, and I was just like, this didn't happen. But it's kind of weird, because when I got to Germany and I'm acting out in all these ways that wasn't like me before, like to suppress it, like drinking and drugs. And I mean, that wasn't me before. I
Mhm.
was not me. And like not calling my mom, and she would be calling the mess hall, if you want to call it that, all worried about me, you know, like, I haven't heard from you. And because that wasn't normal. Just all these things that started happening. And in Germany, I didn't put two and two together that it was that was PTSD or anything. I just,
Mhm.
you know, I was in such denial that I didn't put it together and just kept making bad decisions. But so basically, it's a little bit of backstory. So I come back after I put the claim in. I decided, you know, I was feeling pretty. It just took me to a low place where I was feeling suicidal. Like, I didn't want to feel this shit. That's why it's been in the back of my head. You know, I didn't want to deal with it. And so I started getting on groups online with veterans. And then I started seeing like all these other veterans saying that they wanted to, and it's not just that they were having a bad day. It's like they're basically, you know, with a gun in their hand or whatever. I mean, it's just, I didn't realize this problem was so big until I got on there and was kind of looking for myself for support. So the more talking to them, or realizing that just by me listening to them was helping them, then that kind of started helping me. That's not the only thing. I mean, I did end up going to counseling at the VA, and I hated it. I was bitchy. I was my poor psychiatrist is probably because yeah, he's like telling me everything in order to start back at childhood, you know, and just have to keep bringing this shit up again. And I'd be really bitchy about it. Just, poor guy. Um, so yeah, I decided to go VA. I wasn't, you know, same with my counselor. I was kind of like, I didn't want to open it. It took time. And then I kept going. And I'm not gonna lie, there's still times I cancel because I don't feel it, but eventually I'll get a hold of them. They know that. So
Yeah.
I don't keep every appointment, but I have to say that it helped at the time. It helped me reaching out to the VA. Uh, Especially where I'm at, I think they really do want to help you. You know, they do want to do the best that they can with the tools that they have. So I ended up reaching out to the VA and that helped. So, and then on top of the group thing, and then seeing that I can make a difference. Because at first I'm like, I'm only one person and I can't make a difference, you know, just kind of how I felt
Mhm.
about it. Then when I seen like, I just use this example that this combat that was really upset and, you know, just on the brink of doing something probably stupid. Um, he was explaining to me that, you know, he loves his wife, he loves his kid more than anything in the world, but his wife didn't understand him or couldn't understand, couldn't relate. I can't say that I can relate combat, but as a veteran, I can relate. So just me relating to him, having that moment of somebody listen to him that he felt like he could relate to, helped him. So I noticed that, you know, you can make a difference. So from there, it wasn't an easy year, like in and out of, I'm trying to think, in and out of counseling,
Mhm.
making some appointments, not making some appointments, but I'm glad that I reached out. So if any, I encourage other people to do that.
That's the biggest hurdle too, is actually like reaching out. That's the biggest one. It the you put that thought in your head of, oh, they're not going to help me anyways, when really, like, you're not giving that person on the other side a fair shake. You're making an assumption for that person, and you don't know. And I think that's one of the huge hurdles that veterans have to try to overcome, and it's hard because I did the same thing, and it's very easy to isolate and shut out and be by yourself. That is super simple to do, you know
Mm-hmm.
so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I all the stuff you say, I can relate to it because I did it too. So, and it's hard. And but once you actually like climb over that, and you see, and then maybe the first time doesn't go as good, maybe the first psychiatrist is a turd, doesn't mean they're all turds. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened with me. Like, I had one female, um who, she was all right, but she had called me from her personal phone because I had missed her call from her office. So then I didn't know it was her. I called her back on the because I didn't know what the number was. She left a message, so I called the number back. So she was like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to see if this, that, or if you're okay." I was like, "Yeah." So we scheduled an appointment. Then I get a call from a VA person saying that, why am I calling a psychiatrist's personal phone number? I'm like, what? What? Who? I had no idea. And at the time I had the number still on my phone, and I was like, look, the number's right here. She called me. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I gave her the axe super fast,
Yeah.
because it caused a little bit of tension for about a week or so, because I didn't want to get in trouble. I was like, great, now I
Yeah.
got this going on, and I was pissed. And yeah, so it's like, I get it. And sometimes you just have to go through trial and error until you find the right person who you actually meet up with on the
Mm-hmm.
same plane, and it takes time. And that's the hard part, is if you find the first one that's kind of crappy, then you're like, oh, see, I knew it sucked. Da, 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 da. But
Yeah.
again, you're placing judgment on an entire facility over one person, you know?
Right.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you can't do that. And I think that's one of the things that veterans have to try to overcome. So, and for you, as you were doing all that, Soldier Girl Coffee, did that come up yet, or is that's still a little bit later down the line?
I'll try to condensed version. So I became an affiliate for another coffee company, and I ended up getting an. So while doing that, I was able to reach out to other vets because they hired veterans. So I was able to reach out just by talking to other veterans and kind of feeling part of a team again. And um,
Mhm.
because I don't live around that many veterans and that I know of. I mean, Central Illinois is cornfields. I don't know. It's just hard to. They live in Chicago. They live everywhere. They live in Texas. Everybody's in Texas. No, but there probably are some. But just having that, uh, yeah, that's what I need. I felt that's what I needed. I need to be around veterans that can relate and stuff like that. So, um, I ended up doing that for a year, and I was in leadership with that, and I did their marketing for them for the training and did some training stuff, wrote up the trainings and stuff. And then I felt that they weren't really doing what they said they were. There's a couple of things they weren't doing. They said they're going to do for veterans. So with the encouragement of this veteran business group that I was in since last July, they kept saying, why don't you start your own? And um, so yeah, I didn't know I was going to start my own, but I ended up taking everything I've learned and kind of the skills and stuff like that, and just started a Soldier Girl company, so coffee
Right.
company, and basically behind the, I know I need to get my story straight. Like I'm all over with this stuff.
No, you're fine. So let's go with
um,
how did you come up with the name?
so I didn't want to copy everything. There's so many things that are overused, and I wanted it to be different. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, well, that's, and I started searching that it wasn't really, obviously it's not used. So I used it, and behind the name, I'm going more for like Soldier Girl. It's me is like a warrior, survivor. I don't care if you're male or female, but as long as you don't give up and you soldier on, just about strength. I think just perseverance mindset, just not giving up, not letting society um, choose for you, be yourself. It's wrapped up in a lot of things. I'm finding
Right.
out more and more as I'm marketing and growing and stuff like that. I'm finding out more and more empowerment. I mean, it's a male and female company, but I did get some brand ambassadors, and I do have male ones, but the females, I am just so proud because it's just crazy because I feel like I've really inspired them, especially some have some injuries and stuff like that, whether it be visible injuries or not. Some do, some don't, and they're feeling really empowered to be a part of this adventure. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm inspiring them and empowering them to get out. It's been really nice to see that. It's been, I don't know, just awesome to see the transformation. Um and another girl, I have a combat vet. There's a couple of combat vets, but yeah, it's just very interesting to get to know what they've been through and kind of how this can help them. So
Right. And that's
yeah,
awesome too. Like I like
mm,
your logo. Your logo is pretty awesome. Like, you have like almost it has like a military slash pinup
yeah,
style. It's like a little bit of a blend. When I saw the logo, I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Like she's all just like that, like and it's like,
yeah.
oh,
Thank you.
okay. Got a little 50s vibe with some uniform, but we got some skin showing. Okay, Soldier Girl coffee. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Like,
yeah,
logo's important, like that's image. So when people see an image, like, oh, let me go check that out because that's the first thing they see. So I think you nailed that one. That's a good one. Because I was like, oh
thank you.
dang, and actually saw it and went to your website. So
Yeah, thank you. That's another thing. My designer, he's amazing, and I can give him idea of what I want, and then he can add a little bit to it, and then I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like his brain and mine
yeah,
together. I'm like, yes. So basically, like at first he did it without the tank, and then he's like, let me just add this, and I was like, yes, I love it. With the tank, obviously it brings out that much more. I mean, those little changes,
hmm
and having that male, he's a veteran too, so having that kind of male and female thing. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I got a lot to do, a lot to
And what
grow,
type of
but
flavors do you have of coffee? I know we talked about some, but like just so people hear, because there's a consensus on what type of flavors you got going on. I know there's a couple if you want to share some of those flavors that you offer.
all right. I don't know how well you can see this bag, but I'm gonna show the
Oh,
Actual
yeah.
label. Can
Okay.
you see
Yeah.
it? Um, so every month that I grow, I'm going to add new flavors. But right now I have 100% Colombian coffee, and I have 100% Colombian CBD infused coffee, a snickerdoodle coffee, CBD infused, and French vanilla cream, CBD infused. So that's what I'm starting with, but I can't wait to add more in the K cups and all that too. So
Right. And that'll be a huge hit because I know we were talking about that before because a lot of people just sometimes don't have time to do the coffee and they just throw a Keurig in there because that's what a lot of people have. And I think that'll be a
Mhm.
huge hit for you too, especially because all you gotta do is boop, close the lid and hit the button and
oh yeah,
let it go.
oh yeah.
So
I have people. They're like, I'm gonna order as soon as you get it. So, yeah, hoping I won't give a timeline, but I'm hoping sooner
in
than
the
later.
in the near future, hopefully,
Yeah,
we'll go
we'll
with
go with
that.
that.
Right.
Yeah,
And so and I see you've made this like basically your like full-time job, it's your business and is it kind of I know you got like brand ambassadors, but is it kind of just you running the helm? Is it just you? Do you have like an assistant or you have like I don't want to say like a helper, but like another let me throw an employee helping you or anything, or is it kind of just you running the whole show? Like, nope, this is me. I'm rolling and I'll get little helpers down here, but that's about it.
unfortunately, right now I'm a one-woman show. I'm running the
That's
whole
good.
show, but I do. I mean, I am thinking about ways that I can add on. Obviously, when I start needing, I feel like I need more help right now, but it's still stuff that I can manage. But it's
Right.
growing, and there's a lot more. There's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, and
Well,
like
you're doing
I don't
great, especially
know.
by
I'm
yourself.
sorry, I'm
And
overwhelmed.
well, and just think of it like this too, like with other companies, because you're starting out too, and as you grow, and to kind of give you a little bit of motivation, a little bit of like, okay, I'm doing all right. Just remember, Grunt Style started out as a small company making their own shirts. Now they have huge facilities. They have a board. It was just two veterans. Now they have a board of people that do stuff. Black Rifle
Yeah.
Coffee. They're the same ones. They started out just like you. Now they have added more people because they got too big and it was like, hey, this thing's really big. We need to freaking
Mhm.
get more help. But you're right now you're on the track and it's just you can, especially being a woman in the lead. I like that because I like to see women doing big things, especially on their own, being entrepreneurs, to
Yeah.
kind of change the whole stigma of it has to be a guy running a business. No, it don't. Women are I think smarter than guys when it comes to businesses. Honestly,
Mhm.
like me, it's just I'm more of the do you want to buy this or not? Like that's just my and where with a
Right.
woman, they'd be like, oh well, talking and this, that, or whatever. It's like with my fiance Rachel, she's more of the she can word things and it'll, oh, I think this. Where me, it's like, look, you're either gonna get this shit or not. Are you gonna buy it or no? Like,
Well,
because I'll just
Rachel's
go to
beautiful.
oh, thank you.
She'd be like,
she
yes, just give me the coffee.
yeah,
They
see
probably wouldn't even ask anything.
she don't have to try hard. With me, I'm like, look, you're gonna buy it or not. Like, oh, I'm not sure. I'll throw the bag at you. Like, here, take the freaking bag
Mhm.
and now give me money. Damn it, like, you know. But
Yeah, just cuss people out pretty
yeah,
much.
I'm not the salesperson type. I was never one, and like I always joke, like I could never be a real estate agent because I would be walking with someone like, "Hey, you gonna buy the freaking house or not?" Like we walked through this shit like for an hour. This is a yes or no thing. If not, I got other shit
Mhm.
to do. Like
Yeah,
so I
I
joke
thought the
with
same
that.
thing. Remember, I got fired from selling pagers. I'll be
Well,
like, look now, bitch.
at least the coffee is not pagers, and you can't get fired because it's your own place.
Yeah,
So unless you
can't
can
get
go and be like,
fired.
you go to the mirror and be like, you know what, Carrie, you're fired. No, never mind, you're rehired because then I have no one. So, see, so
Right?
at least you say you can fire and rehire yourself as many times as you want.
Yeah.
So when someone can say, have you ever been fired from a job? Yeah, I fired myself 3 times yesterday. So
Yeah. So it's good. I know that I'm gonna need some kind of help in the future. So just it's more about thinking of how to find those right people that gonna help her represent me. But my brand ambassador, she's particularly one right now. She's doing a lot in Texas for me. She went to Grunt Style. She's gonna be on their podcast or something. She knows
nice.
the guy that's doing events and stuff like that. So she's really trying to network with him as far as getting the coffee out. So giving him cards and stuff. So I'll give a little bit of information on that.
Yeah. Don't divulge too
she's-
much. Leave a little bit out there so people be on the hook. That's right. Just leave a little so people are like, no way.
She's amazing. So in June, I don't even know the date, but they've been so amazing. I have 2 brand ambassadors that set up all this crazy shit in Texas. It's going to be a photo shoot with tanks and all kinds of military.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're really helping me on that.
You don't need to say no more. Good to go. No more. Okay. That's all you need to say.
I'm not saying anymore. That's it.
That's it. Pictures with tanks and let the imagination run wild, because that's pretty awesome to do that. That's going to be neat. You know, like I can come up with my own stuff. Like, hey, maybe there'll be a girl that looks like the logo, and then she's going to sit on the same pose on the tank like this, all like, you know. So I let the imaginations run. Huh?
Yeah, girls with tanks. And
so that's awesome. No, I mean that's super good that you got in with them. Like they're a good company and they really support vets. I like their shirts. Oh wait, obviously.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're super comfy shirts. I love them. So if they're watching, if they ever do, thank you for your shirts. You know, been trying to get one of them jokers to come on here too, but they're so big it's hard to get a hold of somebody. But it'll get there. But I'm glad that you got that and you're setting that up. I'm glad your business is going up, and you know it's good to see, especially veterans. We take a trauma and we kind of turn it into something for other veterans to be like, hey, look, it's okay. Look at this. I went through all this and I'm doing this now. And that's the inspiration. Like for you, yours is coffee. Mine is this podcast. You know, like I do it every week. I get to meet amazing veterans every week. Sometimes I get some repeat guests, you know, because there's something specific that I want to talk about. And it's just, you know, I enjoy it. And I know what you're doing is super great. And I look forward to the cake cups coming whenever they do. I look forward to the different flavors because I know you survey the market to see what flavors, which is smart, instead of just having an abundance of copies that don't sell. So I mean that's super smart that you see like, okay, which ones are doing good, which ones are not, and so that way you don't have product that's just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then you got to throw it on sale and things like that. And see, I couldn't do all that. Mine is just there's too much numbers for me. I'm not math in public is hard for me. So. But
luckily, I still reach out to the veterans sometimes that like business stuff. I'm still asking. Yeah, I still ask a lot of questions and try to get help from other people that have businesses and stuff. They've already been.
Oh yeah, and that's the best ones, especially the ones that are successful with like just a steady flow and constant. You know, those are the best ones to ask. Okay, what are you doing? What stuff are you using? What organizational tools are you using? So that way I can use it too. You know, so like that's good. Right. I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I recommend if anybody's interested in business, there's so many veteran networking groups online, and it's just been amazing to see. You could take each other's failures, or we call it fail forward. So just taking other people's experience too, and not trying to do everything yourself, because that can make the time go like a lot slower if you're trying to figure it all out yourself, and you'll probably get discouraged without any support. And so there's just lots of veteran network stuff that you can do online if you're interested in one. I kind of steer everybody to Vet Tribe just because there's so many veterans in that space. You can usually find somebody to do anything for you, logo or whatever you're trying to look for. So
right. No, and that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of veteran groups out there that are target specific. Like I'm a part of a few where there's some that's specifically for VA home loans. There's those. There's like that's all they talk about is VA home loans. There's some like just for entrepreneurs. There's some just for networking in general. Like there's there's a whole bunch like that, and I think it's great that that those groups do that because it's outlets for us. Like you can even
Hmm.
see on there, someone, a veteran will write, "Hey, I need help," and they'll kind of explain, and the messages and comments just flood, you
Yeah.
know, and that's awesome to see when a veteran is struggling. So it's like even those who are
Mhm.
watching it, just make a post, even if it's anything. You make a post, I guarantee you will get messages, you will get comments, and because we're out there to help,
Mhm.
even me, even I know Carrie too. She has her moments. I have my moments, and it's
Mhm.
just having that good network to get through those days that are just a little bit tougher than others. Um, I watched a thing I actually saved it. It was a video, and it talks about you're going through a hard time and you're going through hell and things like that. But there's a reason, and you're going through that stuff because you can handle it. You know, it wouldn't be given to you if you couldn't handle it, and that just means you're getting closer to your purpose. So the harder it's getting, it means the closer to your end, your goal is what you're getting to. Because if it was easy, then something's
Mhm.
going to happen and throw it off track. So the harder it gets, the closer you're getting to your destiny. And
Mhm.
and then that's then stuff will just keep going and keep going and keep going because that negative stuff is trying to prevent you from getting to where you're on track to going. So as long as you keep knocking that stuff out and keep pushing it out the way, and then and in turn, as that's happening, you're learning about yourself, you're gaining experience, you're gaining knowledge, and that can turn around and inspire others. So that's my little piece there.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like getting out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, getting out of your comfort zone definitely makes you grow.
Yeah,
And I keep doing
totally.
it, even if I don't like it. I do it.
Yeah,
I'm
and I know
gonna.
that's hard.
I haven't done an event before, so I'm gonna go in July to AFES at Fort Bragg,
Nice.
the Veterans Grow America one. So that's out of my comfort zone, but that's what I need it. I need it.
Yeah, no, and that's a good icebreaker too to get your stuff out there, to get you a little bit of public speaking, public forum, like that's gonna be super cool. Is it gonna be recorded? Is it gonna be like a live, or are you just gonna or is it kind of just an event
Um,
or
well, it's an event. It's called Veterans Grow America, um, and some other stuff put it on. But so they'll have like all the vendors outside of AFES and stuff like that. I think it's outside. And I have another veteran. I did a podcast. He said that because they're working on like a podcast, switching over a TV show thing or something. And he said he might make it down to record my part of it, but I don't
oh
know yet.
cool. Oh, that'd be
But
awesome.
they do have somebody walking around filming a little bit here and there, but you know what I mean? I wouldn't be on there the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time. Um last I don't know if Bragg's gonna be as big, but they just did it in Virginia, and unfortunately I couldn't go at Fort Belvoir, but they had music and food and all kinds of it was pretty big. So I'm hoping Fort Bragg's gonna be as big as
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
that'd be super awesome. Well, as we bring it up here to wrap it up, people always know who watch. I like to do like a little closing motivational, inspirational statement from my guests for everyone who's watching and those who watch this later on. Sometimes uh, we need that swift kick in the ass to actually get up and go do something, and that's what I try to provide at the end of this. Is just like if anything else, if you tuned in late or if you're listening but not really watching, it's let me get your attention now. It's like, hey, pay attention because something's about to happen. You're about to get a statement, so I need you to pay attention. So, and that's gonna come from the CEO of Soldier Girl Coffee. She's gonna give her motivational thing for you guys. So go ahead.
Okay. I have PTSD, and if I can do this shit, anybody can do it. It's all about mindset. And I have to constantly work on my mindset. Some days it's not good, some days it's worse than others. But as long as you don't give up, you will succeed. As long as you get back up, keep going, one foot in front of the other, no matter what happens, you'll see success. It may take time, just don't give up. Um, Another big thing is love yourself, have confidence in yourself. I mean, nobody's going to you have to love yourself and believe in yourself because everybody else you have to have kind of thick skin because people are going to come at you, and you have to let that shit roll off your back. I'm really not getting a lot of negative, but I'm getting some weirdos coming. Let that roll off of me. If people don't like it, too bad, because I even have family members that don't like me using the F-bomb and all this stuff so much. But I said, I feel if I can connect with veterans in some level, and unfortunately we cuss all the time or whatever, then I'm going to keep doing it. I mean, that's not my target market, so I don't care what they say. Sorry, not sorry. I think people should just be their self. We live in a crazy times, I think, and in this world, and I try not to like focus on politics, and I want to focus on helping people. So that's my advice. Just don't give up. I'm going to keep having this in your face attitude with my merchandise, and I'm just going to keep going. I just want everybody to like not. I just wish I would have known a long time ago not to let everybody else dictate what you should feel or think or how you should live your life, you know, because you're the only one that can make you happy. I mean, you're the only one that can feel it in your soul, like what makes you happy. So that's all I got.
That's
all day.
that's perfect, especially that last part where, you know, it's simple. You can't control someone else's thoughts and actions. You can only control your own, you know. I think that's great, and it's so inspirational, and you know, really drives it home with what you're trying to do and what we need as a community, especially to kind of final off this here. And it's the same thing. It always revolves around. It seems like everyone I have always says the same thing, but they put their own little spin on it. And I think it's amazing because everyone processes that in a different way, and everyone has their own message for that. But the core message is don't give up. You know, don't let someone dictate your life, you know, and that's kind of what it revolves around. If you spend your time worrying about what someone else thinks, you're not going to enjoy your own life because you're so worried about what someone else thinks. And we all fall into it. No one's perfect. Yeah. I've done it. I don't do it now, but I used to, and that was a hard battle to fight through. But you guys can do it. Carrie's doing it on a daily, and she's getting better at it and better. You know, so I'm doing it. I'm still improving. Everyone's improving, and that's just what it's about. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Carrie, thanks for coming on here and spending a little bit of time talking about your coffee. If you guys want her coffee, her link is in the bio. You can Google Soldier Girl Coffee and it'll come up. I did it. I promise if you type that in, it's the first thing that pops up on the Google. So if you say you can't find it, you're a liar because I did it. I didn't even type in the whole thing. I typed in Soldier Girl and it was the first shit that popped up on the Google. So there's no excuse about, oh, I can't find it. No, you're just lazy. You don't want to look for it. So yeah, so it's there. Go get some coffee, especially if you wake up. Shift from Starbucks and all their stuff and come over here to the Soldier Girl Coffee. See, wake up, bitches. Look at her shirt right there. So yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming on. Carrie, thanks for coming on the podcast. It was great having you here. And tune in next week. Oh, you're welcome. Tune in next week because I got another guy coming on. His name's Matt. He has he's a big guy on Instagram, has a few 100,000 followers. He does a whole bunch of stuff. He was a Marine. So he's coming on next week. He's going to be another guy. So I'm going back to the Jarheads this next week. You know, I've been on like a Jarhead run lately. So I had to come in and throw an Army one in here. I had to break that mold so I can at least get some semi-normal C over here. And then we'll go back to the craziness next week. But no, I'm kidding. It's all inter-branch love. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Carrie, thanks for coming on. And I will see all of you guys next week.